Hi, it's Pastor Gino. Thank you for being with me today. I want to begin a study titled Principles for Successful Parenting, Raising Honorable Kids in a Crazy World. The title is going to be Parenting Power. And I want you to think about how important it is for you to be a parent and how God has assigned you to be a parent. It's a great blessing for us. It's a great blessing for us to be able to leave a legacy and pour into our children's lives. And it's a God assignment. It's an assignment the Lord gave us to impact the world. And children need someone who loves them, cares about them. They need affirmation. They need discipline. They need correction. They need opportunity to develop their skills. And you are that key person in their life. You have home field advantage. So I want to remind you of that and how important your role is, and also that God blesses it and God encourages you in the process. And that's what I'm here to do today, is just to give you some parenting power to step into this role and continue this role if you're already in it in a powerful way. So, principles for successful parenting, raising honorable kids in a crazy world. You know that there's a lot chipping at kids in these days, as far as chipping away their integrity, chipping away their focus, chipping away their heart. So you want to be the one protecting that. You want to be the one guiding them and navigating them through this crazy world and these crazy years. From all the way from little guys, toddlers, or whatever, all the way up through preteen and into the teen years. Your goal is not to make a great 10-year-old. Your goal is to help them to become functioning, well-adjusted, understanding young adults and adults. So your goal is long-term. So there's going to be short-term goals and wins, but there's also going to be failures. There's going to be times when you feel like, man, I should have done better there. But there's time to get things right. There's time to readdress issues that maybe you missed even in your parenting. So stick in there, stay engaged as a parent, and it will turn out. The more principles that you put to practice, it will turn out very well, and your children will cause your heart to have joy later on in life. So I want to go to number one. One of the greatest things we can do for our children is expose them to God encounters, times when the Lord can speak to them. So this can happen by reading the Word. It can happen in prayer with your child, prayer with the family around, whatever the case. Also, it happens when they go to church, in praise and worship time, or in children's church time, whatever the case. It can go, it can also be a great time when they go to a Christian concert or a Christian camp, whatever the case. You putting them in proximity with where God's doing something will give God an opportunity to minister to them. God's the one who created them. God's the one who put them on this earth with a great cause and a great purpose. And the more that you give them opportunity to encounter God, the better it's going to be, because God's going to also put His heart in them and His purpose in their life. And that will also, navigate them through those years. So hearing the voice of the Lord and the word of the Lord is something you want to give them opportunity to have. And in that, ask them questions sometimes. Has God been speaking to you? What's this scripture mean to you? Different questions like that helps. So give them opportunities for God to speak to them. Number two is expose your children to great people. Great people, those who've accomplished things, those who've done something that really makes a difference in others' lives. And I want to take the second part of this, define greatness in a healthy way. A lot of money does not necessarily mean greatness. You should look at the character of a person, their determination to stay in there, to be loyal, to be faithful and committed to things. That should also weigh into the greatness spectrum there. So you want to work with your children to see that and to expose them to those people. Give them opportunity to meet people who have accomplished great things, who's written a book that really did well and has the values that you have, passing them on to your children. Now, you and I both know that a lot of people with great accomplishments on the football field, baseball field, basketball, a lot of famous people with music and things, their message may not align with your value system. So you got to make sure you guide your children in that way and say, hey, they've got a lot of money, they've done some things that's made a difference, but also their character maybe isn't measuring up. So you want to point that out for your children and help them understand that. But expose your children to great people, show them biographies, give them opportunities to hear stories of something that made a difference in people's lives that someone did. Of course, your military heroes and your even community heroes, somebody who started a business and has run a business in your community for 20 years or 30 years or something. Show your children that, hey, that's greatness. That's making an impact. That's contributing to society in a positive way. So expose your children to those kind of people and let God do the work of stirring that in them. Number 3, remember your perspectives will influence their values. So your perspectives will rub off on your children. So how you handle things, how you respond to something that comes up is going to also cause your children to see it that way. I had a road rage guy that kind of came up on us and wouldn't let me into this place that was only one way to get in and out, and he wanted to fight, and I just basically, my children saw that whole situation, and I was decent at that time. There's times I wasn't with road rage as wise as I am now, but I just cracked my window when the guy got out of his car mad at me and basically said, hey, I got children in here, man. This needs to stop. And he was up on us because I was trying to get in, and it was tough for a minute there, but my children saw that, and they saw how I handled that, and it impacted them. And also, we had my children one time, we had a person in a wheelchair going across the road in front of us, and they were just 4 or 5, maybe 6 years old, and they could see out the window a little bit from the back seat, and they kind of snickered about the person in the wheelchair, and I had begun to realize right then I needed to give them understanding and have them understand that this person's situation was a test and a challenge in their life, and we needed to have compassion for them. So I talked to them about, that person possibly having an accident, or that person possibly being a veteran that got wounded, or that person possibly having a sickness in their life. And I tried to bring an understanding to them to see those people that maybe have health challenges or more difficult situations in life with compassion. So then I saw my children's compassion increase, and they began to understand and process. So think about that, your perspectives, how you respond to somebody's influence in your life, how you respond even to your pastor or your boss or whatever. That's going to cause your children's way of dealing with things to kind of be impacted. So think of those things as your perspectives will rub off on them. Number 4, teach your children to determine the proper behavior in every environment. So as they grow, there's different levels of these principles kicking in, but this one is very key, especially the younger, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. You want to teach them, hey, every environment has a proper behavior. If you're going to a funeral, you want to explain to them, hey, we're getting ready to go to a funeral. How should you act here? Well, they're going to be sad, Dad. Yeah, exactly. So you want to be respectful. You want to be somber. You want to be, give a hug if needed, or pat somebody on the back if needed. But have a low key way of dealing with things, and don't yell and don't laugh. You want to have a right perspective in that environment. Then you tell them the opposite. Hey, if you're in your backyard with your brother or your sister or your cousin, you can run around and make a lot of noise. There's no problem. So teach them the alternative opportunities in the environments that they will be in, and that will help them to understand Grandma's house is a place where I want to be gentle with Grandma, be gentle with Grandma's couch and Grandma's vases or Grandma's teapots. And you want to teach them to handle things and value things, in that context as well. So I hope that helps you on there. So number 5, seize on teachable moments with your children. So use situations, scenarios to teach, warn, and encourage your children. If you see someone do something good, hey, look what he did, or look what she did, and how that people responded to that. Or even if something bad happens, try to bring your children's attention to it, to, hey, did you hear this story? I want to tell it to you. The reason I'm telling you is because I want you to learn from it, and begin to explain to them, such as say your son's 14 and he has a 16-year-old boy that they play soccer together in the community. Well, the 16-year-old, 17-year-old, he's starting to drive. Well, a few weeks into his driving, he gets in a little accident because he's distracted while he's behind the wheel and he's on his phone. So you want to teach your children that, hey, did you hear about this young man? And you can tell them, hey, we're not going to judge or make fun of him, but we're going to learn from his mistake. He was looking at his phone when he should have had his phone in the glove box or in the, down in the seat or whatever the case. So seize on teachable moments all through your parenting and take a few minutes and teach them. Now, there is a time when your teaching is going to be too much for them because when they get 17, 18, 19, they don't want to hear everything that you're trying to teach them sometimes. So you'll have to palate it in the right, amount. And when they don't listen, when they're not listening, kind of back off and wait on those opportunities. But the younger years, you definitely want to be teaching them as much as possible about how life works, how things are handled in life, and that will help them. And also those mistakes and things you can teach them with that. All right, number 6, teach your children to see ahead and plan ahead. So you want them to see what's coming in their life. School's starting in a month. What should I do? How should I prepare? Winter's coming. What should I do with my clothes? I'm gonna put my shorts and cool clothes and tank tops, whatever the case, bathing suits in a drawer, kind of tucked away. I can get to it if I need it, but it's not necessarily in front of me. But my sweaters, my jogging suits, my hoodies, whatever the case, they're in a drawer that's very close. So just telling them and teaching them how to prepare. And same for, the Bible tells us in the great book of Proverbs 31 about the virtuous woman. So this is major for your girls, for your children, boys too, but you want to teach your daughters to be ahead of the game, to see. Proverbs 31, it says that the virtuous woman, she plans ahead, and her children, she does not fear that winter is coming. So she has prepared for winter. She has prepared her children and her family. They're warm, they're prepared for, they have everything they need because she's ahead of the game and prepared. So teach your children to see ahead and plan for that. Number 7, provide incentives and good behavior and consequences for bad behavior. Incentives, so you want to lead them with incentive. Hey, if you do this, I'll do this. Hey, if we get this done, this is the opportunity after that. This is the joy that can come in your life if we get this handled. So providing incentives and consequences is very essential, and especially to get them to do something. I used to think it was manipulation, an unhealthy manipulation, but it's actually how God works with us. He says in Deuteronomy 28, if you obey my voice. So your children your voice should be very important to your children. Whenever whenever you're dealing with something and you are bringing correction or describing something to them, your voice needs to be very important to them. So continue to, bring affirmation to them, continue to bring encouragement and even correction to them, and cause your voice to be the most important voice, especially in those younger years. We had a little child one time on a vacation with us, and he was 3 or 4, and he's run into the road, and fortunately he did not get hit, but his daddy was yelling for him to stop running and calling out his name, and he never ever paid attention to his dad. And he could hear, the boy didn't have a hard hearing or anything. He just was hard-headed and he was strong-willed. And so those situations really need to be addressed, that your voice matters most to your children, especially in those younger years, because you're navigating them through for survival as well as for training and education for life. So provide incentives, give them rewards, and also if they have bad behavior, you want them to lose privileges. So they'll understand the consequences. Number 8, so this is kind of tagging onto that, parent with consistent, fair, and adequate discipline. Some people, they don't bring any discipline, or they allow their children, they think their children is a gift from God, so they don't need discipline. Every child needs discipline. They need to learn how to function and how to be a pleasant experience for people and for their environment of people. So Parent with consistent, fair, adequate discipline. When do you start this? A lot of people have asked that. When did I start discipline? I'm going to tell you, it's right here. First sign of defiance. When they say no, you need to begin to break that and explain to them, no, you're not going to tell me no. I'm the one who's leading this. You're going to get disciplined if you don't do what I ask you to do. I saw a 4-year-old little boy in a department store, and he was actually using the F word and the B word to his mom. He is 4 years old, and all the whole aisle of girls is laughing at this little boy cussing out his mother. And I wasn't. I was just like, whoa. And the mom was laughing, and I don't know what I'm going to do with him. He's so loud, and he's so this. And I knew what I would do with him. I knew how I would deal with that, because that has to be snapped then. That has to be dealt with then. And I'm not, pushing abuse by any means or too aggressive, but there has to be adequate discipline. Adequate discipline means if you've got a strong-willed child, you're going to have to bring stronger discipline. And that may mean, the rod is what the Bible says, which means spankings, or whatever the case. That means some strong discipline. If your child will comply with conversation, that's good. If they will change course when you talk to them, that's great. But there are some children that they're strong, and you will have to, break that wheel in them to humble them to understand this is not going to happen. This behavior is going to get consequences. So to go back to the adequate discipline. Think about this, like if my son is running through the house, he's 5, my daughter's 4, they're running through the house and they're running around the corners and the fireplace is right there, and I tell them, don't run over here, you can run over here, but not over there. And they keep going over there and running, and I've told them once or twice, 3 times, what am I going to do? If I keep letting it happen, the 4th time, what if he bumps her and her head busts into the fireplace? What would happen then? She would have to get stitches, possibly even more, concussion and things like that could happen. So our discipline is very important to keep them safe. And if we do not, really act on the discipline when we promise it, we also lose credibility with the child from bringing correction in the future. So make sure you follow up on discipline. Don't, of course, discipline when you're angry. Don't do that. Try to discipline after you've cooled off, and bring the discipline understanding of why, hey, this is why I'm giving you, a spanking. This is why I'm taking away this right or this opportunity, or this is why you're not getting to game for the next 2 days. Whatever the opportunity is there to bring correction and the change of behavior that's needed. So parent with consistent, fair, and adequate discipline, and also be fair between children. What I mean by that is if you treat this child different, and I know this is tough in blended families, one child gets certain discipline because their parent is able to bring correction, the other parent can't because it's not their child. That's difficult. So there needs to be some sort of agreement and arrangement made where discipline is fair among everybody and also brings the results that you want to get behaviors corrected. So really jump in and bring the right correction level for each situation. All right, number 9, redirect energy. Now this happens with the little guys mostly, but redirecting energy. You see, your son or your daughter, they're climbing on everything and they just want to climb all the time. Well, we can, a lot of times we can get in this thing, no, we're telling them no. And I learned when I was my little guys, when I was a young parent at that time, to not just say no all the time, but to redirect. What's that mean? If they're going to climb, give them a place to climb and say, okay, we're not going to climb here, but hey, you can climb over here. Or hey, we can't bang on this dish, but I'm going to give you another thing to bang on, one of your toys over here. So redirect the effort and the action and the activity into a better format that would be easier to manage. So redirect their energy. Don't always try to stop them, because they're going to have energy and they're going to get rolling. So learn to redirect their energy. Next, teach your children how to be a good friend to others. Sometimes this is a challenge. How am I a good friend to others? Teach your children to identify the good in others. Hey, what did he do? And tell him that was such a good job. Or hey, thank you for helping. Or I saw you help the teacher yesterday. Good job. So identify the good in others and try to tell them about that. Teach your children this. Number 2, encourage others to overcome mistakes. So encourage each other to overcome mistakes. So whenever you're talking to your child and you're encouraging them to overcome things, also talk to them about they can do that for others. Hey, how I encouraged you when you were going through that? You can also encourage your friends. Hey man, you're going to get through this. I know you're going through a hard time. They got a bad grade. Hey, you can do better next time. So teach your children to be good friends by being an encourager and also identifying the good in others and pointing it out. And then also to be a good friend, you're going to have to forgive. So teach your children that, but teach them to make sure that they hold the line when people don't change their behavior or aren't truly contrite. So some people forgive without any without any strings attached, which forgiveness doesn't have to have strings, but you do have to build trust back. You have to build the trust back. So if they have a friendship that doesn't go so well and they're broken off, if there's forgiveness given and then trust is rebuilt. So teach them that, some of these principles are different timings in the parenting, but I hope it helps you. Number 11, teach your children how to communicate. Teach them to express what's on their heart. Teach your children to ask good questions. Show them how, hey, what should you ask to find that out? How should you communicate that to your teacher? Give them opportunities to communicate. Give them opportunities to ask questions and to express themselves. And you can open that up into a whole lot there. So I'll allow you to do that. Number 12, teach them how to listen, not just hear. So teach your children to listen for pain, frustration in their teacher. Teach them to listen for, your frustration. Hey, are you hearing my frustration there? Hey, are you hearing that they really care about this dog? Hey, are you hearing that they really want your help with this? So start teaching your children to discern, not just hear stuff, but listen very deeply to that. Oftentimes as a man, I'm listening to those in my family. I'm listening for pain that I can help them, and I'm listening for a loyalty they have to something. Wow, they're really loyal to that. Or I'm listening for some area they need help in, or some area that they want to see God move, so I can pray for them in that. So teach children, teach of course yourself to listen, and listen to listening beyond just hearing. So, all right, number 13, teach them the difference between selfishness and self-care. This was a challenge for me. I thought anything I did for myself was selfish, but no, you need to take care of your body. You need to take care of your teeth, your hair, if you got sore muscles or something, you got, all those things, get good shoes, whatever. Take care of yourself. It's important. It's not selfish to do that. Selfishness is when you, take something from someone else that they deserve and don't allow them to enjoy it or have it when they need it. So teach them the difference and teach them not to be selfish, but to be caring and allow people to have their celebration, their day, their opportunity. Selfishness kicks in at birthdays. You'll see one kid around the table that wants to blow out the candle who it's not their birthday. So those beginning to show them, hey, this is her birthday. It's not your time, so you need to celebrate her. You need to have a happy day for her and reward her because she did it for you, or whatever the case. So teaching them those differences. Number 14, the last one I'll go over today. Money. Teach your children 3 principles with money. And this is, coming up at different times, you'll teach them this. But one, teach them how money flows. Money flows with problem solving. You remove the snow on a sidewalk for your neighbor, they may give you $5, or $10. You do a chore for grandma, she may give you $10. So teach them problem solving is the major way that money flows. You clean out the gutters, somebody gets paid, right? You fix the HVAC system, right? You teach them this is how money flows. You create something that others need, a pencil, a pen, a marker, a hat, somebody else wants. You teach them how money flows. It flows in those areas, and teach them that problem solving is key in money flow. Also teach them that favor is how money flows. If somebody favors you, they can leave an inheritance. If somebody favors you, they can give you a birthday present. If you're good to somebody, they may reward you somehow with something or a gift or something. So teach them money flow. Second, teach them to honor God. Every time they get $1, every time they get $10, cause them to understand that God is the one that gave us everything we have as far as health, strength, physical, that we can do things with. So we want to honor him with our tithe. Tithe is that $1 out of 10 or that $10 out of 100. So teach them to constantly be given back to God to honor him, and that will help them to always keep a heart of respect, and a heart that doesn't move pridefully, but a heart that is unselfish and a heart that rejoices in God. So teach them to honor the Lord. It's him, right? Number 3, teach them to support causes. Everyone wants your money. Everyone, from the food stores to the big box stores to the special causes. So teach them to support causes accordingly. So everybody's asking, go through the drive-through. Oh, can you give $1 to this or $1 to this? And they use the terminology that kind of gets your heart. The Wounded Warriors and the Hungry Children Fund, which all of those are great. Don't get me wrong, but it's always pulling at you. And you need to teach your children saying no is okay, making sure your boat is floating is essential, or you won't be able to help anyone else's boat. So you want to teach them saying no is okay. I say no oftentimes. We give a lot through missions and stuff. So I tell people no all the time. And so you want to tell your children to understand everyone is after their money, and they've got to keep it and disperse it accordingly. And also be wise, with money and things of that nature. So you can go into all that as well. So I hope this has been a blessing to you. Parenting Power, raising honorable kids in a crazy world. So God's anointed you. He's gifted you. He's blessed you. You are a blessing to your kids, no matter what the scenario is right now. They may be hating on you because, kids are going to do all kinds of things, and we get frustrated. How could we love them so much then and hate them so much now? We feel that way sometimes, but God has put them in your heart and you in their heart, and it will all play out. And just continue to teach principles for life. Continue to give them grace. Continue to ask for forgiveness if you've blown it in somewhere. If they've seen you go off and be angry about something, teach them you're human, but you are able to repent and ask for help and forgiveness and all that. And God's going to bless you. God's going to bless your kids, man. I'm praying for them. Let me pray for you. God, touch this family. Touch the kids, Lord. Give them a compliant heart. Cause this parent to be encouraged, emboldened, strengthened to do their part, to be a blessing to their kids. Cause their kids to see them as a solution and a blessing for them. Cause their heart, like you said when John the Baptist came through, cause the heart of the children to be turned to the parents. Cause the heart of the parents to be turned to the children. In Jesus' mighty name. God bless you. Parenting Power. I hope it blesses you today.